It's strange, realizing you're in danger only after your own family smiles at you, 'cause by the time the toast was over, they'd already decided who I was, where I'd go, and which parts of my life I wasn't allowed to keep. The dining room looked too perfect. That's what I noticed first: the candles, the wine glasses catching light, the linen napkins folded into little swans. My son Mark had never done swans before. "To Mom," he said, raising his glass. "To the woman who's always been there for us." Everyone clinked. Allison smiled, but her eyes didn't move. I felt it then, that cold weight in your chest when you know something's ending, but you can't name it yet. I reached for my purse. "Well, I should get going before it gets too dark, actually." "Mom?" Mark stood up. "We need to talk." Allison touched my elbow, leaned in close enough that I could smell her perfume. "You're done here," she whispered. I thought I'd misheard, but then I saw it, my overnight bag, the blue one with the broken zipper, sitting in the hallway, packed, ready. "What's going on?" "We think it's time you had some help, Eleanor." Allison's voice shifted, louder now, performative. "You've been forgetting things. Little things. We're worried." "I haven't forgotten anything." Mark looked at his wife, then back at me. "Mom, you left the stove on twice last month. You couldn't remember where you parked at the grocery store. We found expired milk in your fridge from March." Nineveh was true. The stove thing happened once, a year ago. I knew exactly where I parked. And that milk Ellison had brought it herself. "Where are my keys?" "We're keeping them safe," Mark said. "Just until we figure out next steps." Next steps. Like I was a problem being solved. I'm 68, not senile. No one said senile. Allison's hand was still on my arm, tighter now. "But we've already contacted your bank branch and Dr. Patel's office just to let them know you might need some ... guidance with decisions." The air left the room. "You told my doctor what?" "That you're getting older, and sometimes clarity isn't what it used to be." Mark wouldn't look at me. "It's for your own good." I felt my throat close. Not from sadness, from rage so clean it could cut glass. "I'm leaving." "You can't drive." "Mom? We have your keys. Remember." A knock at the door. Naomi from next door, holding a casserole dish like she'd just come to borrow sugar. But her face told a different story. "Eleanor, you okay?" I heard raised voices. "She's fine," Allison said quickly. "Just a family conversation." Didn't sound fine. Naomi stepped inside without being invited. I've always liked that about her. "Eleanor, you need anything?" I looked at my son, at the woman he married, at the dining room that suddenly felt like a trap. "Yes," I said. "I need to leave." "You can stay with me tonight," Naomi said. "I've got the guest room made up." Mark opened his mouth to argue, but Naomi cut him off. "Unless you're planning to physically stop her? Because I've got my phone right here, and I'm real good at dialing 911. I grabbed my bag from the hallway. It was heavier than I expected. They'd packed more than overnight things. As I walked out, I heard Allison mutter to Mark, "Let her go. It doesn't matter anymore. Doesn't matter." Like I was already gone. Naomi drove me the 30 seconds to her house. Didn't say anything until we were inside. Door locked, shades drawn. "Eleanor, I need to show you something." She pulled out her phone. "My Ring camera? It's been recording your porch for 6 months, ever since I installed it. Catches your front door too, when the angle's right." She pressed play. There was Allison, 3 days ago, talking to Mark on my porch. Her voice came through tinny but clear. Once the papers go through, she won't fight it. And even if she tries, we've already covered that. Bank, doctor, everyone knows she's slipping. My hands shook. "What papers?" Naomi paused the video. "I don't know, but I think we need to find out." I reached into my coat pocket, the one I'd grabbed on the way out, found something I hadn't put there. A receipt? Notary services. Dated 3 weeks ago. My name at the top. but I've never been to a notary in my life. Naomi's couch smelled like lavender and old books. I didn't sleep. Just stared at that receipt until the words blurred together. Notary public. Document, certification, service fee, $35. 3 weeks ago I'd been at my book club. Then physical therapy for my knee. Then home. No notary, no signing. But someone had used my name. Morning came too fast. I called the bank before I lost my nerve. First National. This is Brenda speaking. Hi, this is Eleanor Walsh. I need to check on my accounts. A pause. Keyboard clicking. Mrs. Walsh, I see here we received an authorization form last week. Your son explained you've been having some difficulty managing things on your own. My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. What kind of authorization? It allows him to access your accounts and make decisions if you get overwhelmed easily. She said it gentle, like she was talking to a child. It's pretty standard for folks your age. Folks my age. Like turning 68 made me incompetent overnight. I never signed anything. Well, we have your signature right here in the system. Notarized and everything. Another pause. Is there a problem, Mrs. Walsh? Your son seemed very concerned about you. I bet he did. Can you tell me what date that form was submitted? Let me see, November 18th. November 18th I'd been at my granddaughter's school play. Had the program in my purse still, with the coffee stain on page 3. That's not my signature. Brenda's voice shifted. Careful now. Ma'am, if there's a dispute, you'll need to come in with proper identification and possibly legal representation. But I should mention your son did say you might call confused. He asked us to note that in your file. He'd thought of everything. I thanked her and hung up. Naomi was watching me from the kitchen doorway. They bought it, I said. Whatever Mark told them, they believed him. Because he's the concerned son and you're just the old mother who forgets things. She set down a plate of toast. We need to see that video again. All of it. We watched it 3 times. The first 2 times I caught the obvious parts. Allison talking about papers. Mark nodding, their voices low and careful like they were planning something illegal. The 3rd time I heard it, once the papers go through, she won't fight it. Allison again, checking her phone. And the deed transfer should be done by next week if the notary doesn't ask questions. Deed transfer. My house. They were trying to take my house. That's why they packed your bag, Naomi said quietly. They weren't just kicking you out for the night. I thought about the milk Allison claimed was expired. The stove I supposedly left on. The car keys they took for safekeeping. They'd been building a story, making me look incapable. And I'd been so busy trying to be the good mother, the one who didn't complain, that I hadn't seen it. My phone buzzed. Text from Mark. Mom, we need to talk about next steps. There are some facilities we'd like you to tour. Allison found a really nice place with activities. Facilities? He meant nursing homes. I texted back. I'm fine where I am. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Mom, you're not thinking clearly. We've already spoken to your doctor about this. I wanted to throw the phone across the room. Instead, I reached into my coat pocket again, felt around past the notary receipt, found something else, a business card, bent at the corner. Law offices of HarperCollins, elder law, and estate planning. Where did this come from? I held it up. Naomi squinted. I put it there. Last night while you were in the bathroom, I figured you might need it. You've been planning this. Eleanor, I've been watching them circle you for months. The way Allison looks at your house. The way Mark talks about you like you're already gone. She poured more coffee. I knew something was coming. I just didn't know what. I stared at the card. I'd never needed a lawyer before. Never thought I'd need protection from my own son. But here we were. I'm calling her, I said. Good. But first, let's go through everything you can remember about the last few months. Every time Mark came over. Every time Allison asked to help with paperwork, every time they made you feel crazy for noticing something was wrong, I closed my eyes, thought back. Mark insisted on organizing my filing cabinet, said it was too messy, that I'd never find anything in an emergency. When? October. He spent 3 hours in my office while I was at my cardiologist appointment. Naomi wrote it down. What else? Allison kept asking about my will. Who was on it, who wasn't, whether I'd updated it recently. I opened my eyes. I told her it was none of her business. How'd she react? She smiled, said she was just trying to help me stay organized. I felt sick. I thought she was being nice. The business card bent under my thumb. HarperCollins. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It was only 7:30 in the morning, but I had a feeling HarperCollins was the kind of lawyer who got to the office early. I was right. She answered on the second ring. Ms. Collins, my name is Eleanor Walsh, and I think my son is trying to steal my house. HarperCollins had a voice like cold water, sharp, clean, wakes you right up. She told me to come in at 9. Bring everything I had. Don't call Mark. Don't call the bank again. Don't tip them off that I knew. Right now, she said, you have the element of surprise. That's your only advantage. Naomi drove. I watched the houses go by, wondering how many other old women were sitting in kitchens right now, being told they were confused, being told to sign here, being told it was for their own good. Harper's office was above a coffee shop on Maple Street. No fancy lobby, no marble floors. Just a waiting room with 2 chairs and a picture of a golden retriever. She looked younger than I expected. Maybe 45. Gray streak in her dark hair, eyes that saw right through you. Tell me everything. So I did. The dinner, the packed bag, the whispered threat, the notary receipt, the video from Naomi's camera, the bank authorization I never signed. She listened without interrupting, took notes on a yellow legal pad. When I finished, she sat back. Mrs. Walsh, how long have you lived in your house? 42 years? My husband and I bought it in 1983. He died in 2019. And the DIDs? It in your name only. Yes. Has been since Robert passed. She tapped her pen against the pad. Here's what I think is happening. Your son and daughter-in-law are trying to establish a pattern of incompetence. They've told your bank you can't manage your finances. They've told your doctor you're declining. They've probably told other people, 2 neighbors, friends, anyone who might be called on to verify their story. But why? Because if they can prove you're not capable of making decisions, they can petition for guardianship or conservatorship. And once they have that, they control everything: your money, your property, your medical care, everything. The room tilted, but I'm fine. I'm not confused. I don't forget things. I believe you. But the law doesn't care what's true. It cares what can be proven. She leaned forward. That notary receipt, that's our first real evidence of forgery. We need to find out what document was notarized and whether your actual signature is on it. How do we do that? We start with the county recorder's office. Any transfer of property has to go through them. She glanced at her watch. They open in an hour. But first, I need to make a call. She picked up her phone, dialed a number from memory. Hey, Richard. It's Harper. I need you to run a name through the state licensing board. She wrote something down. Gerald Hoffman, Notary Public, license number. She squinted at my receipt, N4472. Yeah, I'll wait. The silence stretched. Naomi shifted in her chair beside me. Outside, a truck rumbled past. Harper's expression changed. Are you sure? When? She wrote faster. Okay, thanks. I owe you one. She hung up. Looked at me. The notary whose stamp is on your receipt. His license was suspended 4 months ago. For fraud? My stomach dropped. So whoever notarized that document was using an invalid seal? Which means the document itself is invalid. And if they tried to file it with the county, They committed a felony. Harper finished. Multiple felonies. Actually, forgery, identity theft, elder abuse. She stood up. Let's go to the recorder's office. Right now. The county building smelled like floor wax and old paper. A woman with bifocals and a pink cardigan sat behind the desk, looking like she'd been there since the Carter administration. Help you? I need to see any recent filings related to this property. Harper slid a paper across the counter with my address on it. The woman typed slowly, squinted at the screen, typed some more. There's a pending transfer here. Filed November 22nd. Still in the review period. What kind of transfer? Looks like interspousal transfer. No, wait. Family care transfer. Says here the owner is transferring the property to her son due to declining health and inability to maintain the residence. I gripped the edge of the counter. I never transferred anything. The woman looked at me over her bifocals. Well, there's a notarized deed here with your signature. Ma'am? Says you signed it on November 18th? The same day I was at my granddaughter's school play. Can we see it? Harper asked. The woman hesitated. I'm not supposed to show pending documents. My client's identity has been stolen and her property is being fraudulently transferred. You can show us the document now, or you can show it to the police later. Your choice. The woman pulled it up, turned the screen. There was my name, my address, my signature except it wasn't. The loops were wrong. The slant was off. Whoever had forged it had tried, but they'd missed the way I always crossed my T's, the way my capital W leaned left. That's not my signature, I said. Harper took a photo with her phone. Who filed this? The woman checked. Mark Walsh. The son. He came in personally. And no one verified the signature. No one checked ID. Ma'am, we process hundreds of documents a week. If it's notarized, we assume it's legitimate. Harper's jaw tightened. Where's the notary information? The woman scrawled. Gerald Hoffman. License number N4472. That license was suspended in July, 4 months before this document was supposedly notarized. The woman's face went pale. Oh no. Yeah, oh no. Harper turned to me. Mrs. Walsh, I need you to file a police report. Today, right now. We walked out into the cold. I felt numb. They almost did it, I said. If Naomi hadn't had that camera, if I hadn't found that receipt, they would have taken my house and I never would have known until it was too late. They still might try, Harper said. This isn't over. They've put too much work into this to walk away clean. My phone buzzed. Text from Allison. Eleanor, we need to discuss your living situation. Mark and I have found a lovely community in Riverside. They have a room available next month. Next month, they were already planning my exit. I showed Harper. Don't respond, she said. Not yet. We need to know what else they've done first. Naomi was quiet on the drive back. When we pulled into her driveway, she finally spoke. Eleanor, there's something else on that video. Something I didn't show you yet. What? She pulled out her phone. Fast-forwarded to a part I hadn't seen. Allison and Mark on my porch, 2 weeks ago. Allison was holding something. A wallet. My wallet. She took my ID, I whispered. Took it right out of your purse while you were in the bathroom at that family dinner. I watched her do it. Watched Mark distract you while she went through your things. That's how they'd done it. That's how someone had shown up at a notary with my identification and signed my house away. They'd stolen my face, my name, my whole life. And they'd smiled while they did it. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Just kept thinking about Allison's hand in my purse. Mark's voice saying, Mom, look at this, while she rifled through my wallet like a thief. Except thieves don't smile at Sunday dinner. Thieves don't call you Mom. Harper called at 7 in the morning. I need you to do something today. Go to your doctor's office. Ask to see your medical records. All of them. Why? Because if they're building a case that you're incompetent, they need medical documentation. And I'm betting they've already started creating it. Dr. Patel's office was the same as always, pastel walls. Magazines from 2 years ago, a receptionist named Linda who always remembered to ask about my garden. Hi, Eleanor. You don't have an appointment today, do you? No, I just need to review my medical file. Is that possible? Her smile flickered. Oh, let me check with the office manager. She disappeared into the back. Stayed gone too long. When she came back, her smile was tighter. We can get those records for you, but it'll take a few days to process the request. There's a form, Linda. I leaned on the counter. I've been coming here for 15 years. I just want to look at my file. Is there a problem? She glanced at the hallway behind her, lowered her voice. There's a note from your son. He called last month. Said you've been showing signs of confusion, memory problems, that we should flag your account for. For capacity concerns. The floor felt soft under my feet. What does that mean? It means if you come in asking for prescriptions or trying to make medical decisions, we're supposed to verify with a family member first. To make sure you understand what you're agreeing to, they'd taken my body. My right to decide what happened to my own body. I want to see that note. I really shouldn't, Linda, please. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she pulled up something on her computer, turned the screen just enough that I could see. There it was. Dated October 27th. Mark's name. Mark's phone number. Mother showing increased confusion. Frequently forgets conversations. Left stove on multiple times. Family concerned about her ability to consent to medical procedures. Request all treatment decisions be confirmed with son before proceeding. All lies. Careful, documented lies. Has Dr. Patel seen this? Yes. He made a note in your chart. Said we should monitor for cognitive decline at your next visit. When is my next visit? Linda clicked through screens. You're actually overdue for your annual physical. We sent reminders, but she stopped. What? The reminders were sent to a different email address, not yours. Someone called in September and said you'd changed your contact information. Said you wanted all communications to go through your son's email. I gripped the counter edge so hard my knuckles went white. I never changed anything. I'm so sorry, Eleanor. We had no reason to think, her voice cracked. You've always been so sharp, so on top of things. I should have questioned it. It's not your fault. But my voice shook. Can you print that note for me? The one from Mark? She hesitated, then hit print. Slid the paper across the counter like it was evidence at a crime scene. Which I guess it was. Outside, I called Harper. They got to my doctor. Made him think I'm losing my mind. Bastards. No hesitation. No sugarcoating. I liked her more for it. Okay, here's what we do. You request a full cognitive evaluation from an independent neurologist, someone they haven't talked to. We establish baseline competency. Then we use that to challenge everything they've claimed. How long does that take? A few weeks? Maybe a month. Harper, they're trying to put me in a home next month. I don't have weeks. Silence on her end. Then, meet me at my office in an hour. Bring Naomi. And that video? We spread everything out on Harper's conference table. The forged deed, the notary receipt, the medical note, the Ring camera footage, the bank authorization. Harper studied it all like a puzzle. Here's what I'm seeing. They started in September, changed your email at the doctor's office. October, Mark organized your files, probably looking for documents they'd need to forge. Also, October, the capacity concern note to your doctor. November, they steal your ID, forge your signature, file the fraudulent deed transfer. And now her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. Hold on. This is the county recorder's office. She answered, listened. Her expression darkened. When, and they didn't think to verify? ... Yes, I understand. Thank you. She hung up, looked at me. Someone just submitted an emergency petition to the county court. Filed this morning. It's a request for temporary guardianship. Claims you're a danger to yourself. Says you've been found wandering, confused, unable to manage basic self-care. That's insane. It's also strategic. If a judge grants temporary guardianship, even for 30 days, Mark gets control of everything. Your house, your money, your medical decisions, everything. Can they do that? Just lie to a judge. They can try. And if no one challenges it, if you don't show up to defend yourself, the judge might grant it by default. She grabbed her laptop. The hearing is scheduled for Friday, 3 days from now. 3 days to prove I wasn't crazy. 3 days to prove my own son was the dangerous one. Naomi was scrolling through her phone. Eleanor, I just got an alert from my Ring camera. Someone's at your house? She pulled up the live feed. There was Mark, using a key I didn't know he had, walking into my house with 2 other men. One carried a clipboard. The other had a camera. Who are they? I asked. Harper zoomed in on the clipboard. That's an estate appraiser. They're cataloging your belongings. Why? Because they're not just taking your house. They're taking everything in it. On the screen, Allison appeared in my living room, walked over to my bookshelf, picked up the framed photo of Robert and me on our wedding day, and smiled. That's when I knew. This wasn't about concern. This wasn't about my health or my safety. This was about money. My house, my savings, my life insurance, everything Robert and I had built for 42 years, and they wanted it all. Harper, I said quietly, what do I do? She closed her laptop, looked me straight in the eye. We fight back. Hard. Starting right now. Harper spread out a calendar on her desk. Friday's hearing is our deadline. We need something concrete that proves forgery before then. We have the notary seal. The suspended license? That proves the document's invalid. Doesn't prove who did it? She tapped her pen. We need to catch them in a lie they can't explain away. My phone buzzed. Social Security Administration? I almost didn't answer. Mrs. Walsh? This is Kevin from SSA Customer Service. I'm calling about the account access issue you reported. I didn't report anything. Oh, well, we show here that someone requested a password reset yesterday. Said you couldn't remember your PIN? We flagged it because the voice on the call mentioned your age as the reason for the confusion. My hands went cold. What did they want access to? Your direct deposit information. Banking details. The usual. He paused. Ma'am, did you authorize this change or not? No, I never called you. Then someone's attempting fraud. I'm locking your account right now. You'll need to come in person with 2 forms of ID to restore access. I thanked him and hung up. Harper was already writing. They're escalating, getting desperate. She looked up. That's good for us. Desperate people make mistakes. Naomi pulled out her phone. Let me check that video again. There's something she scrolled back 3 weeks. Watched in double speed. Here, watch Allison's mouth. She turned the screen. Allison was talking to Mark on my porch, early November. The audio was muffled, but Naomi had the captions turned on. The notary appointment is Thursday at 2. I told her Eleanor had a medical thing that day, so she wouldn't suspect. Harper leaned in. What medical thing? I thought back. My mammogram. November 18th, 2 o'clock. So while you were at the hospital, they were at a notary's office, pretending to be you. Harper's eyes lit up. Eleanor, do you still have the paperwork from that appointment? It's at my house. We need it. That's your alibi. Time-stamped, documented proof you were somewhere else when they claim you signed those papers. How do I get in? Mark changed the locks. Naomi smiled. No, he didn't. He tried, but the locksmith wouldn't do it without the homeowner's written consent. I know because I asked the guy when I saw his truck there last week. Harper grabbed her keys. Let's go. Right now. before they think to try again. My house looked different. Not the structure that was the same, but something felt violated. Like strangers had been touching my things. The mammogram paperwork was in my desk drawer, right where I'd left it. November 18th, 2 p.m. appointment, 2:47 p.m. completion time. Signed by the radiologist. Perfect. Harper photographed it from 3 angles. This is irrefutable. But I wasn't listening. I was staring at my filing cabinet. The one Mark had organized. The bottom drawer was unlocked. I never left it unlocked. Inside, folders were missing. My birth certificate, Robert's death certificate, the original deed to the house, my marriage license. They took my whole identity, I whispered. Harper came over, looked in the drawer. What else was here? Insurance policies, investment statements, my will, your will. Her voice sharpened. When was it written? 2019, right after Robert died. I tried to remember. Everything goes to Mark. He's the only child. And if you were declared incompetent before you died? I don't know. I guess Mark would still inherit. Not exactly. If he's your guardian, he controls the assets while you're alive. But if you died while under guardianship, and there were questions about the will's validity, ... double quotes, she trailed off. Eleanor, when did you last see that will? I don't know. A year ago? Maybe 2? She pulled out her phone. Called someone. Jerry, I need you to check something. Eleanor Walsh, will filed in 2019. See if there's been any recent activity. She waited. Yeah, I'll hold. Naomi was at my bookshelf. Eleanor, that photo of you and Robert? Allison picked it up on the camera earlier, remember? So where is it now? I looked. The frame was gone. Why would they take that? Because they're rewriting your story, Harper said quietly. Making you the confused widow who can't cope? The photo doesn't fit that narrative. Her phone buzzed. She looked at the screen and her face went pale. What? I asked. Your will? Someone requested a copy from probate court yesterday. Claimed to be your attorney of record. But you're my attorney. Exactly. She grabbed my arm. We need to leave. Now. Why? Because if they're checking on your will, they're planning for what happens after they get guardianship. And that means a car door slammed outside. Voices. Naomi looked out the window. It's Mark. And he's got people with him. We ducked into the hallway. I could hear them at the front door. Keys jingling. Told you she'd come back for something? Mark was saying. Probably confused about where she lives now. They came inside. 3 of them. Mark, Allison, and a woman in a blazer carrying a leather folder. Mrs. Walsh. The woman's voice was bright. Professional. I'm Sandra Kim from Riverside Senior Living. Your son arranged for me to meet you here to discuss accommodations. I stepped out from the hallway. I'm not going anywhere. Mark's face went hard. Mom, we've been over this. You can't live alone anymore. This is my house. Actually, Allison said sweetly, we need to talk about that. She pulled out a paper. The forged deed transfer. This was filed with the county last week. The house is being transferred to us. For your care. That's a forgery. That's your signature. Mark moved closer. Mom, you signed it. You just don't remember. That's why we're worried. Sandra Kim looked uncomfortable. Mr. Walsh, perhaps we should reschedule. No. Allison cut her off. We need this settled today. The court hearing is Friday, and we need her placed before then. The truth came out so casual, so cold. Harper stepped forward. Eleanor isn't going anywhere. And that deed is invalid. The notary who supposedly witnessed it lost his license 4 months before the date on your document. Mark's expression cracked. Just for a second. Then he recovered. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. Harper held up her phone. But the county recorder does. And so does the DA's office. I called them on the way over. Silence. Long and sharp. Then Allison grabbed Mark's arm. We should go. Good idea, Harper said. Because if you're here when the police arrive, this gets a lot more complicated for you. They left. Sandra Kim practically ran. I sat down on my own couch in my own house and started shaking. It's okay, Naomi said. They're gone. For now. Harper was already texting someone. But they're not done. Friday's hearing is still happening. We need the rest of those documents they stole. And we need to figure out what they're planning next. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. You shouldn't have brought a lawyer. This could have been easy. Now it won't be. I showed Harper. She read it, smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. Good. Let them make threats. Let them get sloppy. She took a photo of the text. Every mistake they make now is evidence we can use Friday. What if the judge believes them? Then we make sure the judge sees what I see. A son who forged documents, stole his mother's identity, and tried to gaslight her into giving up everything. She squeezed my hand. Eleanor, you're not alone in this anymore. And they're about to find that out. Outside, a car started. Drove away fast. But I could still feel them circling. Still feel the walls closing in. Friday was 3 days away. And I had no idea what they'd try next. Harper's office smelled like coffee and old paper. She spread everything across her desk. The forged deed, the medical note, the ring camera footage, the threatening text. We're missing something, she said. They're too confident. There's another piece we haven't found yet. I pulled out my phone, scrolled through my bank app, looking for anything strange. Then I saw a charge from 3 weeks ago. County Recorder's Office. $50. I never paid the county recorder. Harper looked up. When? November 20th? 2 days after they supposedly notarized the deed? I showed her the screen. But this was charged to my credit card. How did they get my card number? Same way they got everything else. They had access to your wallet. She grabbed her laptop. I'm requesting your full transaction history. If they used your card once, they probably used it more. While she worked, Naomi pulled up the ring camera footage again. I want to check something. She scrolled back to early November. Here, November 15th. On screen, Mark was at my front door. Alone. He kept looking over his shoulder, then pulled out a key and went inside. Came out 12 minutes later carrying a manila envelope. What was in my house on November 15th? I tried to remember. I was at my book club that night. Harper stopped typing. Eleanor, where do you keep your important documents? Filing cabinet. Bottom drawer. And Mark organized that cabinet in October. The pieces clicked together. He'd taken the documents then, made copies, practiced forging my signature. Everything had been planned months in advance. My phone rang. County Records Office. Mrs. Walsh? This is Dennis from County Records. You requested information about document requests on your property? Yes. Well, someone pulled certified copies of your deed 3 times in the last month. Different names each time, but all claimed to be family members or legal representatives. Who? A Mark Walsh. An Allison Walsh. And he paused. An Eleanor Walsh. My stomach dropped. I never requested anything. The request shows your email address, and someone picked up the copies in person with your ID. The ID Allison had stolen from my purse. When was the last pickup? Yesterday. The person said they needed it for a guardianship hearing. Harper grabbed the phone from me. This is Eleanor Walsh's attorney. I need copies of every request form, every signature, and every piece of identification used. Today? She hung up, looked at me. They're building a file, showing the court that you've been requesting documents, forgetting you requested them, requesting them again, making you look confused. But I know. But on paper, it looks like you did. She stood up. We need to get to that records office before they close. 5 o'clock. We've got 40 minutes. We made it with 10 minutes to spare. Dennis was a thin man with wire glasses and nervous hands. He pulled up the requests on his computer. Here, 3 requests, all different dates. He printed them out. I looked at the signatures. They were close to mine. Too close. Someone had practiced. Can I see the ID copies? He hesitated. We're supposed to keep those confidential, Dennis, Harper said quietly. Someone stole this woman's identity and is using it to commit fraud. You can show us the copies now, or explain to a judge later why you didn't. He pulled them up. 3 different ID photos. All of me ex felt they weren't. The first one was real. My actual driver's license photo from 2022. The second one was doctored. Same photo, but the address had been changed to a P.O. box I'd never heard of. The third one wasn't me at all. It was someone else, older, heavier, gray hair in a style I'd never worn. But the name said Eleanor Walsh. Who is that? Naomi whispered. Harper zoomed in on the photo. An actress, probably. Someone they paid to impersonate Eleanor and pick up documents? That's illegal. Very illegal. It's also proof. She turned to Dennis. I need official copies of all of this. Certified. For court. He printed everything. Signed each page. Put the county seal on it. In the car, Harper made 3 phone calls. The DA's office, Adult Protective Services, the State Fraud Division. Friday's hearing just became very different, she said. They're not just facing a custody dispute anymore. They're facing felony charges. My phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. You really should have taken the easy way out. Now we have to do this the hard way. I showed Harper. Don't respond, but save it. Everything they send us is evidence. Naomi was scrolling through the Ring camera footage again. Eleanor, look at this. From this morning. The video showed Allison at my house. She was in my office, going through my desk. She found something, a small envelope, cream-colored, and put it in her purse. What was that? Harper asked. I closed my eyes, tried to remember what I'd put in that desk. Then I knew. My mother's ring. The diamond one. Worth about $20,000. I opened my eyes. Robert gave it to me before she died. Said I should keep it safe. They're liquidating assets, Harper said. Taking anything valuable before the hearing? Can we stop them? We can try. But first, she pulled into her office parking lot. We need to figure out what else they've taken, and what they're planning to take next. Inside, she pulled up my credit card statements. Highlighted every charge from the last 2 months. County recorder. Check. Notary service. Check. Wait, what's this? Riverside Senior Living. $1,500 deposit. Paid November 10th. That's the place Sandra Kim was from. They reserved you a room 2 weeks before they even kicked you out. Harper kept scrolling. And here is date appraiser. $500. Locksmith consultation. Moving company estimate. They'd been planning everything. Every detail. Every step. And I'd been completely blind to it. Harper, I said quietly. What if we can't prove it? What if the judge believes them? She looked at me. Really looked at me. Then we make damn sure the judge sees the truth. Starting tomorrow, Harper made calls until midnight. I heard her voice through Naomi's guest room, wall sharp, insistent, building something I couldn't quite see yet. Morning came gray and cold. Harper picked us up at 7. We're meeting someone, was all she'd say. The law office was in a strip mall between a nail salon and a tax preparer. Elder law and advocacy, the sign said. Harper led us inside. A woman stood from behind her desk. Late 50s, silver hair cut sharp, eyes that had seen things. Eleanor Walsh. She extended her hand. I'm Christine Vega. I've been working elder financial abuse cases for 20 years. We sat. Christine pulled out a file that was already thick. Harper sent me everything last night. The forged deed, The medical notes, the fake IDs, all of it. She looked at me. Mrs. Walsh, what your son is doing isn't new. I've seen this exact pattern 40 times. Maybe 50. How does it usually end? Honestly, the family usually wins. Because by the time someone notices, the victim's been isolated, discredited, and legally cornered. She leaned forward. But you caught it early. You have proof. That changes everything. Harper opened her laptop. Christine specializes in testimony. She explains the pattern to judges so they understand it's not just family drama. Will you testify Friday? I asked. I will. But we need more. Christine pulled out a photo. This man, Gerald Hoffman, the notary whose seal was on your forged deed. His license was suspended. I know. I called him yesterday. She smiled then. Turns out Gerald's been looking for the people who stole his stamp. He's willing to testify that he never notarized anything for you, never met you, and that his seal was taken from his office in July. My throat tightened. Mark took it. Or Allison. Or they paid someone. Doesn't matter. What matters is Gerald will swear under oath that signature isn't his and that document is fake. Harper pulled up a new file. We've also subpoenaed your bank records. Every transaction, every authorization, every form with your name on it. What are we looking for? Inconsistencies. Forged signatures have patterns. They're too perfect or not perfect enough. We'll bring in a handwriting analyst. Naomi was scrolling her phone. The Ring camera caught something else last night. She turned the screen. Watch. The video showed Mark's car in my driveway at 2 a.m. He and Allison got out, went inside, came out 20 minutes later carrying boxers. What's in those? Christine asked. My things, I whispered. They're emptying my house. Harper's face hardened. That's theft. And we can prove it. She called someone. Put it on speaker. Detective Morrison. It's Harper Collins. I need to report an act of burglary. She gave my address. The owner is here with me. The perpetrators are family members attempting to steal property before a guardianship hearing. The detective's voice crackled. Are they there now? No, but they will be. They've been coming every night. We'll send a unit to watch the property tonight. If they show up, we'll intervene. Harper hung up, looked at me. Tonight, we catch them in the act. On camera. With police as witnesses. What about Friday's hearing? Christine pulled out another file. I've been in contact with Adult Protective Services. They're opening an investigation into Mark and Allison for financial exploitation. The investigator, Sarah Chun, will testify about what she's found. What has she found? Your bank records show 15 unauthorized transfers in the last month. Small amounts, 300 here, 500 there. They're draining your accounts slowly so you won't notice. I felt sick. How much? About $8,000 so far. $8,000. Money Robert and I saved. Money I'd planned to leave for my granddaughter's college fund. Can we get it back? Eventually. But first we stop them from taking more. Harper closed her laptop. Friday's hearing isn't about guardianship anymore. It's about proving criminal intent. My phone rang. Mark's name flashed. Don't answer, Harper said. But I did. Put it on speaker. Mom, we need to talk. His voice was different. Harder. You've made this very difficult. Hiring lawyers. Making accusations. We're trying to help you. By stealing from me. Silence. Then, you don't understand what you're saying. That's the problem. You're confused and someone's taking advantage of that confusion. The only people taking advantage are you and Allison. Mom, his voice cracked, almost genuine. Almost? Please, just come to Riverside tomorrow. Tour the facility. If you don't like it, we'll figure something else out. I'm not going anywhere. You don't have a choice. The hearing is Friday. The judge will side with us. You know that. We'll see. I hung up. My hands were shaking. Christine made notes. Good. He admitted the hearing. Admitted they expect to win. That's confidence born from planning. Or arrogance, Naomi said. Same thing. Harper stood. Tonight, we watch Eleanor's house. Tomorrow, we meet with the DA. Friday, we end this. At 9 p.m., we parked 3 houses down from mine. Naomi's camera was set to record. Harper had a police scanner. We waited. At 11:47, headlights appeared. Mark's car. He and Allison got out. Used a key. Went inside. Harper called Detective Morrison. They're here. Unit's 2 minutes out. We watched through the camera feed. Mark was in my office, going through the filing cabinet. Allison was in the bedroom, taking jewelry from my dresser. Then I saw it. Allison opened my closet, pulled out a box from the top shelf, a box I'd forgotten about. What's in that box? Harper asked. I tried to remember. Robert's things. From the hospital. They gave them to me after he died. I couldn't look at them, so I just, on screen. Allison opened the box, pulled out an envelope. My heart stopped. What is that? Naomi whispered. I knew what it was. Robert's life insurance paperwork. The policy he'd updated a month before he died. The one that named me as sole beneficiary. The one worth $500,000? They're not just taking the house, I said. They're taking everything. Police lights flooded the driveway. Mark and Allison froze on camera, then ran for the back door. But Detective Morrison was already there. Harper smiled. Got them. The police station smelled like burnt coffee and old regret. Detective Morrison led us to a conference room with gray walls and a table that had seen too many confessions. They're in separate interview rooms, he said. Both lawyered up already. Harper wasn't surprised. Of course they did. What did you recover from the house? Morrison laid it out on the table. My mother's diamond ring, 3 boxers of Robert's belongings, a folder thick with documents, deeds, insurance policies, bank statements, and the envelope Allison had pulled from the closet. I picked it up with shaking hands. Inside was Robert's life insurance policy. $500,000. Updated March 2019, 1 month before he died. But something was clipped to it. A second policy. Newer. Different company. What is this? I showed Harper. She read it. Her expression went dark. This is a life insurance policy on you, Eleanor. Taken out 6 months ago. Beneficiary is Mark Walsh. The room tilted. I never signed that. I know. She flipped to the signature page. There it was. My name in handwriting that was close, but not quite right. They've been planning this for longer than we thought. Christine Vega arrived 30 minutes later. She looked at the policy and her face went cold. This changes everything. This isn't just financial abuse anymore. She turned to Morrison. You need to call the DA right now. This is conspiracy. Potentially worse. Worse how? I asked. She hesitated. Eleanor, if they've taken out life insurance on you without your knowledge, and they're trying to get guardianship, and they're systematically isolating you from resources, ... You think they wanted me dead? The words hung there. Ugly and true. Morrison left to make calls. Harper pulled up something on her laptop. Look at this. Riverside Senior Living, the facility they wanted you in. I researched it last night. She turned the screen 1-star reviews. Complaints about medication errors. A wrongful death lawsuit from 2023. It's not a nice place, Eleanor. It's where people go to be forgotten. Naomi was pale. They were going to put her somewhere she'd deteriorate fast. Or worse, Christine said quietly. With guardianship and power of attorney, they'd control her medical decisions. What medications she takes. What treatments she receives. I thought about Mark's voice on the phone. The fake concern. The insistence that I was confused, forgetting things, couldn't be trusted. They'd been writing my ending, and I'd almost let them. Morrison came back. DA wants to see everyone tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. She's considering additional charges. What kind of charges? I asked. Conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. He paused. Possibly attempted murder, depending on what the insurance company says. The room went silent. My son, the boy I raised, the man I'd trusted with everything, had wanted me dead. Harper drove us back to Naomi's house. None of us spoke. What was there to say? Inside, Naomi made tea. Nobody drank. I sat on the couch holding that insurance policy, reading my forged signature over and over. My phone buzzed. A call from Riverside Senior Living. I almost didn't answer. But Harper nodded. Mrs. Walsh? This is Sandra Kim. We met at your house. I wanted to call and apologize. Her voice was shaking. Your son told me you had Alzheimer's, that you were a danger to yourself, that you'd tried to hurt yourself and needed immediate placement. None of that is true. I know that now. I saw the news. The police at your house? I called the facility director and told her everything. She took a breath. Mrs. Walsh, your son had already paid first and last month, $5,400. He had your room assignment, your meal plan, your medication schedule already written out. What medications? Heavy sedatives? Antipsychotics? Things we only use for severe dementia cases? She paused. He said you'd fight the medication, that we'd need to be firm. I closed my eyes. Saw the whole plan? They'd put me in that place, drugged me until I really was confused. Then what? An accident? A fall? Too much medication? The insurance policy would pay out. They'd sell my house, take everything, and everyone would say what a tragedy, how hard they'd tried, how sad that Eleanor deteriorated so quickly. Thank you for calling, I managed. I'm so sorry. I should have asked more questions. Should have insisted on meeting with you alone. Her voice cracked. I see families like yours every month, and I always wonder what, if I'm helping someone who needs it, or if I'm helping someone get away with something. She hung up. Harper was watching me. What did she say? I told her. Everything. Christine made notes. That's premeditation. That's a plan with steps and timeline and intent. It's also testimony, Harper said. Sandra Kim just became our witness. Morning came too fast. The DA's office was downtown, all glass and steel and the weight of justice. District Attorney Patricia Chun was younger than I expected. Sharp suit, sharper eyes. Mrs. Walsh, I've reviewed everything your attorney sent. The forged documents, the fraudulent insurance policy, the medical records manipulation. She folded her hands. I'm charging your son and daughter-in-law with conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult, and attempted murder. The last two words hit like stones. Attempted murder. The insurance policy, combined with the facility placement and the medication plan, demonstrates clear intent to harm. We can prove conspiracy. Whether we can prove attempted murder depends on what else we find. What else is there? She pulled out a file. Your daughter-in-law's search history? We got a warrant for her devices last night. She turned pages. How long does someone with dementia live? Medication overdose symptoms. How to prove someone is incompetent. Natural causes death investigation. My hands went numb. She was researching how to kill you and make it look natural, Christine said quietly. Chun nodded. Combined with the insurance policy, the guardianship petition, and the facility placement, we have a strong case for conspiracy with intent to harm. What happens now? Friday's guardianship hearing becomes a criminal arraignment. They'll be formally charged. Bail will be set. She looked at me. Mrs. Walsh, this is going to be public. It's going to be in the news. Your family will be destroyed. My family was destroyed the moment they decided I was worth more dead than alive. She smiled thin. Then let's make sure they pay for it. Harper's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, and her expression changed. Eleanor. Mark and Allison just posted bail. Already? Allison's parents. They put up their house. She kept reading. And there's more. Mark's attorney issued a statement. Says you're mentally unwell. That you've fabricated everything. That they were only trying to help. Of course they did. It gets worse. They're claiming the insurance policy was your idea. That you asked Mark to set it up. That you're now confused and blaming them. I laughed. It came out broken. They're still doing it. Still gaslighting even now. Won't work, Da-chun said. We have the handwriting analysis. The forged signatures. The search history. The recorded statements. She stood. Friday, we end this. Permanently. But I knew better. Friday was 3 days away. And desperate people do desperate things. Harper called at 6 a.m. Thursday. Don't leave Naomi's house. Don't answer the door. Mark and Allison are out on bail and I don't trust them. What can they do now? Everyone knows. Exactly. They have nothing left to lose. She was right. By noon, my phone had 43 missed calls. Unknown numbers. Reporters. Mark's lawyer. Even Allison's mother, crying about how I'd destroyed her daughter's life. I turned it off. Naomi made lunch, neither of us ate. Harper arrived at 2 with Christine and another woman, short, Asian, wearing a blazer that meant business. Eleanor, this is Sarah Chun from Adult Protective Services. Sarah shook my hand, sat down across from me. Mrs. Walsh, I've completed my investigation. I wanted you to hear the findings before I submit them to the court tomorrow. She opened a folder. In the last 4 months, your son and daughter-in-law made unauthorized access to your bank accounts 15 times. Total amount withdrawn, $11,400. More than I'd thought. They changed your mailing address with Social Security, Medicare, and your bank. All correspondence was redirected to a P.O. box they control. So I never saw any of it. Correct? They also submitted false medical capacity reports to 3 different agencies, your insurance company, your primary care physician, and the county health services. Why 3? Because they needed a pattern. 1 report could be questioned. 3 reports from different sources makes you look legitimately impaired. She turned a page. They attempted to access your investment accounts twice. The firm flagged it both times due to signature inconsistencies. Thank God for bank security. They also contacted your homeowner's insurance and tried to add themselves as co-owners of your policy. That failed because the insurance company required your notarized consent, which they couldn't forge well enough. Exactly. Sarah looked up. Mrs. Walsh, in 20 years of doing this work, I've never seen a case this calculated. Most financial abuse is opportunistic. Someone sees an opening and takes it. This was planned. Methodical. They studied how to do this. Christine pulled out her own notes. I've been researching Mark and Allison's finances. They're drowning. Credit card debt over $80,000. Mortgage 3 months behind. Allison's car was repossessed in September. They needed money. Desperately. Your house alone is worth $400,000. Your savings, investments, life insurance, you're worth over $700,000 total. She met my eyes. You weren't their mother. You were their retirement plan. The doorbell rang. We all froze. Naomi checked the camera. Police? Detective Morrison stood on the porch with another officer. Naomi, let them in. Mrs. Walsh, we need to talk. Morrison looked grim. Mark and Allison's attorney just filed an emergency motion. They're claiming you're in danger. That Naomi and your lawyer are manipulating you. That's insane. I know. But they're asking for a welfare check. Judge granted it. We have to visually confirm you're safe and acting of your own free will. Harper stepped forward. She's obviously fine. I can see that. But I need Mrs. Walsh to state it on record. He pulled out his phone. Started recording. Mrs. Walsh, Are you here voluntarily? Yes. Has anyone threatened you or coerced you? No. Harper and Naomi have protected me. Do you feel safe? Safer than I've felt in months? He stopped recording. That should satisfy the judge. But Eleanor, you need to. No, Mark's attorney is claiming you're being financially exploited by your lawyer. Harper's jaw tightened. That's defamation. Maybe. But they're spinning a narrative. You're the confused old woman. They're the concerned family. Everyone else is the villain. He looked at me. Tomorrow's hearing is going to be ugly. After they left, Harper paced. They're trying to muddy the water. Make the judge question everything. Will it work? Not with the evidence we have, but it'll make the process harder. She stopped. We need something they can't explain away. Something so clear that even their lawyer can't spin it. Naomi pulled up her laptop. I've been going through all the Ring camera footage. Every single day for the last 6 months. She clicked through files. Most of it's normal. Mail delivery. Neighbors walking dogs. But look at this. October 3rd. The video showed Mark at my house. Middle of the day. He used his key, went inside, came out 11 minutes later with nothing visible. So you were home that day. I checked my calendar. We had coffee together that afternoon at 2. This was taken at 1:15. She fast-forwarded. Now watch October 17th. Same thing. Mark arriving, going inside, leaving. You were home then too. At your book club meeting. I remember because you borrowed my copy of the book. She pulled up for more videos. Same pattern. Mark entering my house when I wasn't there or when I was distracted. He was practicing, Christine said quietly. Going through your things. Learning where everything was. Preparing. For what? Harper's phone rang. She answered. Listened. Her face went pale. When? ... Are you sure? ... Okay. Thank you. She hung up. Looked at me. That was the insurance investigator. The policy Mark took out on you? He tried to increase the payout 2 weeks ago. From $500,000 to $1 million? The room went silent. They were going to kill you, Naomi whispered. Really? Kill you? We don't know that, Harper said. But her voice shook. Yes, we do. Christine pointed at the evidence spread across the table. Look at the timeline. September financial crisis. October surveillance and planning. November execute the guardianship plan. December secure you in the facility. Then what? An accident? Medical error. They'd already researched it. Sarah Chun closed her folder. I'm recommending permanent protective order. Mark and Allison should never be allowed contact with Eleanor again. What about tomorrow? I asked. Harper sat down. Tomorrow we present everything. The forgeries, the false medical reports, the insurance fraud, the search history, all of it. The judge will see what we see. And if Mark's lawyer convinces them I'm the crazy one, then we appeal. And we keep fighting. She took my hand. Eleanor, you're not alone. You have an entire team of people who believe you. My phone, the one I'd turned off, buzzed back to life. One new voicemail? I almost deleted it. But something made me listen. Mark's voice. Quiet. Tired. Mom, I know you won't believe this, but I never wanted it to go this far. Allison said it would be easy. Said you'd never notice. I should have stopped her. I should have. His voice cracked. I'm sorry. For all of it. But it's too late now. The lawyer says we have to fight. Says if we back down, we go to prison. So tomorrow I have to get up there and say terrible things about you? And I need you to know? I don't mean them. I never did. The message ended. I played it again, put it on speaker. Everyone listened. Is he apologizing? Naomi asked. No, Christine said. He's explaining. There's a difference. Harper was already typing. I'm sending this to the DA. It's an admission of guilt. He said Allison started it. Doesn't matter. He went along with it. That makes him equally guilty. She looked up. Eleanor, do you want to respond? I thought about it. Thought about the little boy who'd cried when his goldfish died. The teenager who'd defended me when his father drank too much. The man who'd held my hand at Robert's funeral. Where had that person gone? Or had he never existed at all? No, I said. I have nothing to say to him. That night, I couldn't sleep. Just lay there thinking about tomorrow. About standing in a courtroom while my son tried to convince a judge I was incompetent. About how close they'd come to winning. At 3 a.m., Naomi knocked softly. You awake? Yeah. She came in. Sat on the edge of the bed. My mom went through something similar. Different details. Same story. My brother tried to take her house. She stared at the wall. She didn't have proof like you do. Didn't have cameras or lawyers. By the time anyone believed her, she'd lost everything. What happened to your brother? Nothing. He got away with it. Sold her house? Kept the money. She looked at me. That's why I installed that camera. Why I've been watching. I couldn't save my mom, but I could save you. You did save me. No. You saved yourself. I just gave you the tools. Friday morning came cold and bright. Harper picked us up at 7. We drove to the courthouse in silence. The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wooden benches. High ceilings. A judge's bench that looked like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Mark and Allison sat on the other side with their lawyer. Mark wouldn't look at me. Allison stared straight ahead, jaw tight. Judge Catherine Morrison entered. Everyone stood. Be seated. We're here for the matter of Walsh versus Walsh. Emergency guardianship petition and criminal charges. She looked at both sides. This is going to be a long day. Let's begin. Harper stood first. Didn't rush. Didn't perform. Jess spoke like she was telling the judge what she'd seen with her own eyes. Your Honor, this isn't a case about a concerned son. It's a case about financial predators who targeted their own mother. Mark's lawyer, a man named Daniels, with silver hair and an expensive suit, objected immediately. Your Honor, that's inflammatory, I'll allow it, Judge Morrison said. Continue, Ms. Collins. Harper laid out the evidence piece by piece. The forged deed with the suspended notary's seal. The fake medical reports. The bank authorizations I never signed. The life insurance policy taken out without my knowledge. Gerald Hoffman testified next. The notary whose seal they'd stolen. I've never met Mrs. Walsh. Never notarized anything for her. My stamp was stolen from my office in July after I was suspended. He looked at Mark. But I remember the day he came in. Asked questions about estate transfers. Said it was for his mother. Mark's face stayed blank. But Allison shifted in her seat. Sandra Kim from Riverside testified about the medication plan Mark had requested. Heavy sedatives. Antipsychotics. I questioned it at the time, but he insisted Mrs. Walsh would be combative. And now? Harper asked. Now I believe he was planning to keep her sedated so she couldn't fight back. The handwriting analyst showed side-by-side comparisons of my real signature and the forged ones. These are clear forgeries. The pressure points are wrong. The letter formations are practiced but inconsistent. Someone tried to copy Mrs. Walsh's signature but couldn't replicate the natural flow. Sarah Chun presented her findings. The unauthorized withdrawals. The redirected mail. The false capacity reports submitted to multiple agencies. In my professional opinion, this was a systematic, calculated attempt to strip Mrs. Walsh of her autonomy, her assets, and potentially her life. Judge Morrison leaned forward. That's a serious accusation. It's supported by serious evidence, Your Honor. Sarah pulled out the insurance documents. A $1 million policy on Mrs. Walsh's life, forged signature. Beneficiary Mark Walsh, combined with attempts to institutionalize her in a facility with a history of medication errors and unexplained deaths. The courtroom went silent. Then Daniels stood. Your Honor, my clients made mistakes. They acknowledged that, but their intentions were good. Mrs. Walsh was showing signs of decline. What signs? Judge Morrison interrupted. Forgetfulness? Confusion? Difficulty managing her household, according to whom? Daniels faltered. According to Mr. Walsh and his wife. So the only people claiming Mrs. Walsh is incompetent are the same people who stand to inherit her estate? Your Honor, adult children often notice decline before Ms. Collins. Do you have medical evidence of Mrs. Walsh's current capacity? Harper handed over a folder. Independent neurological evaluation completed 3 days ago. Dr. Raymond Lee decertified his finding. Mrs. Walsh shows no signs of cognitive decline. She scored in the 97th percentile for her age group. Judge Morrison read it. Looked at me. Mrs. Walsh, would you like to speak? I stood. My legs shook, but my voice didn't. Your Honor, I'm 68 years old. I buried my husband 5 years ago. I've lived alone since then. I pay my bills. I manage my health. I volunteer at the library every Tuesday. I looked at Mark. I raised my son to be honest, to be kind. I don't know when that changed. I don't know if it was desperation or greed or if I just never saw who he really was. Mark's face crumpled. Allison grabbed his hand. But I know this. They didn't want to help me. They wanted what I had. And when I wouldn't give it willingly, they tried to take it by force. I turned back to the judge. I'm not confused. I'm not declining. I'm just an old woman who trusted the wrong people. Judge Morrison was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked at Daniels. Does your client wish to testify? Daniels whispered to Mark. Mark shook his head. No, Your Honor. Very well. She shuffled papers. I've reviewed all the evidence. The forged documents, the fraudulent insurance policy, the medical records manipulation, the financial exploitation. She looked at Mark and Allison. What you did wasn't caregiving. It was abuse. Calculated, systematic abuse of a vulnerable person who trusted you. Allison started crying. Mark stared at the table. The guardianship petition is denied. Permanently. Neither Mark Walsh nor Allison Walsh shall have any legal authority over Eleanor Walsh's person or property. She signed something. Furthermore, I'm issuing a permanent restraining order. No contact. Direct or indirect. Violation will result in immediate arrest. Harper squeezed my hand. As for the criminal charges, those will proceed in Superior Court. Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, you'll be arraigned on charges of conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, financial exploitation, and attempted murder. Bail is revoked pending trial. 2 officers moved toward Mark and Allison. Your Honor, please. Daniels stood. Sit down, Mr. Daniels. Your clients are a flight risk and a danger to the victim. They'll remain in custody. She looked at me one last time. Mrs. Walsh, you have full control of your assets, your property, and your life. I'm sorry you had to fight for what should have been yours all along. Thank you, Your Honor. They took Mark and Allison away in handcuffs. Mark looked back once, mouthed something that might have been, I'm sorry. I looked away. Outside the courthouse, reporters shouted questions. Harper guided me past them to her car. Naomi was already there, crying and smiling at the same time. You did it, she said. You actually did it. We did it. Christine met us at Harper's office. The DA wants to talk about restitution. The $11,000 they took, plus legal fees. You'll get it back. I don't want their money. I just want them gone. They will be, for a long time. Harper poured coffee none of us needed. The DA's offering a plea deal. 10 years for Mark, 12 for Allison. If they don't take it, they're looking at 25 to life. Good. We sat there, the 4 of us, not quite believing it was over. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Mrs. Walsh? This is county records. We've processed the reversal on your property deed. It's back in your name. Only your name. No liens, no claims. Thank you. I hung up. Looked at Harper. My house is mine again. It was always yours. That night, Naomi drove me home. My real home. The locks had been changed. Harper had arranged it. New keys, new codes, new start. Inside, everything was where I'd left it. The couch Robert picked out. The photos on the mantel. The coffee cup I'd been using the morning they'd kicked me out. I walked through each room, touched the walls, opened windows. It smelled like home again. Naomi helped me unpack the few things I'd taken to her place. When she left, she hugged me hard. You call if you need anything. Anything at all. I will. Alone, I made tea. Sat in Robert's chair. Looked at our wedding photo. We're okay, I told him. The house is safe. I'm safe. Outside, leaves blew across the yard. Winter coming. But spring would follow. It always did. My phone buzzed. Text from Harper. Sleep well. You earned it. I smiled. Turned off the lights. Went upstairs to my own bed in my own house. And for the first time in months, I slept. 2 months later, the trial ended. Mark took the plea deal. 8 years. Allison got 10. They'd be out eventually, but by then I'd be long past caring. The bank returned my money. With interest. I donated half to Elder Protection Services. The rest I put in a trust for my granddaughter. Not through Mark. Through Harper. With protections he could never touch. I still volunteer at the library. Still have coffee with Naomi. Still live alone and like it that way. People ask if I'm angry, if I hate my son. I don't know. Mostly I'm just tired. But I'm here, in my house, with my name on the deed and my signature on my checks and my life in my own hands. And that's enough. That's everything. If this story hit close to home, you're not alone. Financial abuse happens to 1 in 10 older adults. But you can fight back. You can win. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And if you've ever had to set boundaries with family, you know how hard it is, but how necessary. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and never let anyone make you doubt your own mind.